What is up, guys? Today we are going to be building a reusable health component. Instead of hard coding health into every single one of your actors, like your character, your enemy, and anything else you want to have health, we're going to make it modular, meaning we can slap this component onto anything and it will just work just like that, as long as you have a reference to the actor that you want to damage or add health to. So the way we're going to start is we're going to be adding a blueprint class. My PC is not liking me right now. I'm going to add a actor components right here. I'm going to call it health components. We're going to save. Okay. Get rid of those. And we're going to want to open up again, blueprints, interface. And this is what allows us to okay, I guess we're going to call it repeat items for health because it doesn't want to rename that. So we're going to call this add and remove health. This is what allows us to dynamically add and remove health based on any blueprint as long as you have a reference to it. Instead of casting, you can just use this and it's so much better. So we're going to add an input. That input is going to be called amounts. So it's the amount of health that you want to add or subtract. We're going to make an integer. You can make it a float if you want. Not recommended, I guess. It's just really just no reason to do that. In the health component, we're going to go to class settings. We're going to type in BPI_health, and this will allow us to grab custom events. I'm going to call this add and remove health on server. We're going to put this on server. So this is what makes it kind of more safe than if you were to just do it on client. And it just makes it better with the replication. That way you're not sending it from client to server, and it's just harder to cheat this way. So we're going to add two variables. We're going to call one current health. We're actually going to add three variables, but that's okay. Make this a integer. Max health is also an integer, and on these you're going to instance editable expose on spawn. Current health instance editable expose on spawn, and on current health you're going to want to rep notify it. This is what replicates it to the client, and it'll also allow us to do something we're going to do once we make this. So click on the custom event and add amount as an input as well with a integer. Once you do that, you can make another thing called set current as max. This is just a nice little feature that we can add for ourselves to make it to where if we go begin play, that's not what the begin play looks like. We can get or set current health. So you're going to set current health, you're going to get max health, and you're set it here. And only if you get or set current as max, you're going to drag off click B for a branch, and on true, then it'll just set the current health to whatever the max health is. That way you don't have to bother setting the current health, but if you want to, you can, just by setting this to false. By default, we're going to turn that on because it's just easier that way. And so now is the simple math. We're going to drag off of amount and we're going to add. And you may be asking how, well, it's pretty simple, but you may be asking how are we going to do this to that. Okay, so make sure the amount is on the bottom. How are we going to subtract it? Well, you just put a negative. It's that simple. But if you want, you'll see. And then we'll set current health to that. And that's just the math. That's the math bit. We're going to drag off here because less than or equal to 0. I guess that's math as well, but we're going to ignore that. And if it is, can I plug in a node, please? Thank you. We're going to make a event dispatch. We're going to call it on death. We're making another one. We're going to call it ping current health. And we're going to open up here. And on ping current health, we're going to call that. We're actually going to add a input on this one. Then we're going to call it current health. This will just make it easier for us to check the health every time it gets damaged or added on, so that what is wrong. refresh nodes. Unreal, love Unreal. This will just make it to where instead of using a tick or checking manually every time, it'll just call an event every time our health gets changed. And on death, I call this, and we're also, yeah, that'll be good actually. Just call on death. So that way, once you die, it'll be like, hey, you died. And on here, on the BPI, the thing we made right here, we're going to call that custom event, add and remove health on server, and we're going to plug that in right there. So this is all the code for that. And you can add other custom stuff. Preferably do it on here, add a new function. Like if you want to do like slow heal, add that here and then code it in here. It shouldn't be too hard. You probably use a timer for that if you wanted that. But I have a debug key that does a line trace. So this is how we're going to do it. So on a line trace or on a hit event or on a overlap event, you get a hit actor. So we're going to get components by class, and then we're going to get health component. This is basically saying, hey, does our actor have the health components? Here, that's, and we're going to do is valid. So if it does, if health component is valid and it has the health component, we're going to drag off health component. We're going to add and remove health. I guess we could just do other things, but it's just easier this way. That way it's not calling any other references, but you can do negative 15. You could have just called the event in there, but it's easier. There we go. I think that's it for that part. So now we're going to make a dummy. So right click, blueprint class, actor, BP underscore dummy. We're going to double click it, and we're going to add a skeletal mesh. I'm going to add a skmani, and since I'm using the templates that you can see in the description that I highly recommend you get for VR, I'm going to add the full body physics. That way the line trace hits everything besides just the arm. And we're going to generate overlap events and block all. Then we're going to add the health component. If you scroll down all the way on the health component, we're going to set max health to 100. Don't have to worry about current health because that'll be set on death and ping current health. So you're probably familiar with these. If you go on like down here, you get like all these on constraint broken, on begin overlap. They're just like that. That's what we made. So on ping current health, we're going to add a text render so that we can know what the health is at all times. We're going to center that's 90. And on begin play, we're going to set text formats. We're going to call health space squiggly lines health get current health, plug that in, and this will just make sure on begin play it sets it to the health, but we won't have to get it like that anymore because every time it's actually affected, we can just put that there and it'll change the value based on what it is after. Boom. And then on that, you can do whatever the hell you want with that. I don't know what you want to do, but do something, I guess, with that. And we're going to drag the dummy in. Click play, and my hands are stretched. It's weird. And if we click T, debug, you can see it removes it, and it does work on multiplayer. And yes, there isn't any check for that, but well, there is. It tells you if you're dead, but on the thing, on the dummy, I'd probably do this and clamp. Well, you know what we'll do actually? Select. Do this. So we'll do a select node, and if it's equal to 0, we will health dead, but if it's not, we will plug that in. So if we click play now, and that's just play, health's at 100. So if we get rid of that, and it doesn't work. Okay, what's wrong? Oh, probably because it doesn't get to 0 if it's less than or equal to 0. Because it doesn't get to, it gets a -5 because we're minusing 15 from it. So now it'll say dead. So there you go. And the dead event does call. So I guess we could have just done that on death, but that's fine. That's how you'd use it. And that's a health component. It works on multiplayer. My line trace just isn't replicated, so I can't show that on the client. I guess I can show it working on both, but client can't do it on mine because I don't replicate the line trace, which is needed. But if you replicate the line trace, it'll work fine. So boom, oh yeah, hold on. You gotta replicate the actor. Click replicates on both, because in order for something to replicate, it needs to be replicated. Go here, go here. All right, boom. And as you can see, it's updating on both, and it's replicated. Just make sure you have replicated on the actor, like I didn't, and it didn't work for a split second, as you saw. And yep, that's the tutorial. It's pretty simple. If you get the template, that'll be in the description for VR. If you ever want to make a VR game, you'll have this made in C++ and a lot of other systems, like this door system that I made that is based on the lever, and it works. I don't know. I don't think that's replicated, so I don't replicate the thing, but it can be if you just tick the box. I made this, which I'm not going to grab right now because my grab system was a little broken because I disconnected some code because I was screwing around with the thing and how it works because I was looking at it in the template. But yeah, that is, yeah, it's pretty cool. It works perfectly. No issues. And if there is, let me know in the comments because I'll tell you to fix it and I'll tell you how to fix it. Don't miss me too much. Bye.